Okay guys, I'm going to get into the Lite Deck on my own room edition today. The wife is out showing houses, typical Sunday for us. We plan to work on this together, and then she gets called to show some houses. But that's okay because it's been a lot of grunt work today. I've been finishing the shoring. I didn't really make any video on that. I'll get into the proper way to do it, which they actually have shore, like, you know, screw jack poles. I don't own them. I don't want to rent them. I have lumber laying around, so you're totally free to build like shore walls, or, you know, kind of cribbing underneath, false work underneath the forms. But what we've got anyway is multiple parts. So we've got a cross section of the Lite Deck. I'll just show you right here. And Lite Deck is it's basically a horizontal ICF form. It runs horizontal, and it has two metal studs in it. And these can span without any extra support other than the rebar that's specified. They can span 40 feet. It depends on what your span is, how many of these caps you stack on top. Because as you can see, when you put the actual form together, it's not very tall. And then you put a cap on. See, I'm only spanning about a little over 20 feet. And so I'm able to get away with one cap. And what I end up with is a floor that it's 10 inches right here, and you put 4 inches of concrete on top, so it's 14 inches. Really no different than a 12-inch TGI with flooring, depending on if you're doing like polished concrete, whatever. And what you have, what you end up with, this cap will be over here too, and over here, and you end up with like a monolithic, sort of like when you go into a parking garage and you see all the beams that were poured at the same time as the parking deck structure. So you end up with a three-dimensional, you have joists or beams out of concrete, and then the slab ties it all together. And the tour I'm getting ready to bring you guys on that house with the swimming pool that I showed you a couple videos ago, that house has 40-foot spans, and when they do that, they have to put another cap or two on there. They end up with like a 24-inch from ceiling of the basement or the lower floor to the floor. It can get that thick. We've recently looked at a project where we were going to span 50 feet on a single pitch roof, and it's doable. But what happens is you've got these chairs that come with it, and you put two pieces of 3/4 rebar in the bottom of the beam, and then you have these little smaller chairs that hold 1/2-inch bar on a grid on the surface. And instead of those 3/4 rods, you have to use post-tension cables to go over 40 feet, but it's doable. And the cool thing, normally this is a more expensive, pricier process than doing wood. As you know how I feel about wood right now, the futures are coming down, but it's not coming down at the lumberyard yet. It will soon, but this is still far superior. And if it's even remotely close, and right now, just like ICF, it's pretty much on par. It has an economy of scale. The stuff, they ship it in the full lengths. So if you got 40-foot pieces, you're hauling an entire semi-trailer. So the freight can be a little bad. If you have a small room like this, I was able to piggyback this load onto one of Dave Sample's pours. So we kind of split the freight, and it wasn't awful. But if I had just this little room, the freight could almost be as much as the forms. So if you're doing a whole house, this is absolutely something to look at. Structurally beyond superior. I've seen them driving skid steers on top of one of these decks where normally you'd have a wood frame where you couldn't do anything close to that. So it's really awesome. The other thing it's going to give me the opportunity to do is, and I'm going to bring you in this video, is we're going to put hydronic heating in this floor, radiant hot water lines. And it's very, very easy to do when you use this floor. For one, you got an insulated barrier under the slab, so all those BTUs are going straight into the concrete, heating that thermal mass and radiating into your floor, which is, I mean, into your air above, which is what the ideal situation is. So what I'm going to do today is I'm not going to get very far. It's almost the end of the day, and I've got a little step down wall, kind of, you can't probably see it over here, that I still need to build a pony wall for. So I'm only going to be able to go about 3 more pieces today, but I'm going to do that real quick. And basically we also foam in all the gaps and everything, so it's pretty much as watertight as we can get it, so it doesn't leak water all down into the basement, and, you know, yucky concrete water get all over everything. But basically our forms will come here, so we have a thickened edge all the way around. I'm actually doing a monolithic wall that goes along the back wall of the bedroom and back out this way. This corner here is glass, so it won't have any wall, but bring you all those details in time. But in the moment, I'm showing you guys Lite Deck, and stay tuned for the rest of this one. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just spray foaming the tongue and snapping them together, and you don't have to do that. I'm just trying to absolutely minimize the bleed water and slurry that will seep underneath the slab and get on my floor below. That's why I'm gluing the caps on, and I'm doing all that just to minimize the bleed and not make a mess. Okay, so a few days later, Christina and I finally found the time in the evening to finish up placing the Lite Deck panels. And having her helping me did make it a lot easier. The panels are not heavy per se. I'd say those are 22 foot long, and they probably weigh maybe 30 pounds per panel. So it's pretty easy to carry them, but it's just awkward to carry something that's 2 feet wide and 22 feet long. No matter how light it is, it's just awkward to handle by yourself. And having somebody on that other end to guide it, really makes it a lot more workable. And so this whole process only took us about 10 or 15 minutes to set all of these, and then after that we just had to glue down all the caps. So having that second person helping is really huge if you're going to do this, but it is doable by yourself if that's the only way you have. High five. All right, so guys, a helper really makes it go faster. You remember how long it took me to do all this by myself? She shows up today, and we got that done in like 10 minutes. So the next step, she's going to start carrying me these the spacers, the part that establishes how high the beam is. You know, this is only spanning 21 feet or so. We're getting ready to do a garage for a guy who's spanning about 32, and we actually have to have a 4-inch and a 6-inch cap to make the beam deeper, to make it span that. So that's kind of how the engineering works. You tell them how long your span is and what the load requirements are, and they engineer these caps to make your beams higher. You're always gonna have a 4-inch slab on top, just the beams become bigger. So you ready to go? You can start carrying me some caps? Okay, get it. All right guys, here we go. So the one thing you absolutely have to avoid when setting Lite Deck is stepping down in the beam pockets. They are not structurally capable of handling the weight of a foot or a person. They're made to handle the concrete spread over its entire area. So if you step in it, you'll go through it just like stepping through an attic ceiling, you know, stepping through sheetrock. And Christina lost her balance. It wasn't the first time she had done that during the day, and she'd already probably weakened the spot she stepped on, and she went right through it, unfortunately. Whoa, hey. Hey, you okay? Are you okay, sweetie? Okay, what? You stepped on that spot I told you not to step. You okay? No. Okay. All right. You sure you're okay? Huh? You sure you're okay? Okay. It's not a big deal. We can fix that, okay?
It hurt.
It hurt? Did you whack your knee? You didn't hit this rebar, did you?
No.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can't step here. There's no support. It's real weak.
Why didn't you tell me earlier?
Well, I did tell you. You didn't understand what I said, I think. Remember when I said don't step in the low spot? I'm sorry. Okay, here, let's talk about this real quick. Hey guys, did you see that? I don't know if the camera's pointed over at this corner, but assuming it's on camera, that is the problem. Here, spin around. If you feel okay, sweet? Spin around. Okay. She just got a boo-boo. Are you pouting a little bit? I'm sorry. Well, okay guys, so this is the one thing about all of these videos I do where I tell you can do it yourself and all yada yada. I mean, you're doing something you don't do every day. I get real comfortable. I'm running around in flip-flops. I'm not making a great example, but I'm at my own house. It's Sunday. However, Lite Deck is very stable. It's got those metal joists there and there, but there's no support here. And that's okay for concrete spread evenly to hold the pressure, but it can't hold the pressure of a foot, which Christina just discovered. You okay? She's a little humbled at the moment, I think, guys. She was doing good too. But anyway, that's gonna be the big takeaway from that. It's not hard to fix. All I gotta do is go into there and find her pieces of styrofoam that broke through.
How do you get down there?
I got to go down through that hole there. I'll have to move the plywood, but that's the next step anyways, to get that plywood. I'll show you that in just a second, what we're going to do with the plywood. But once I move that, I'll have a hole down there. I'll get that piece, and I will put a piece of like plywood and screw it to the joists across that hole. So it'll be like it was never there, like it never happened, but you could get hurt. I mean, it's not likely to get hurt falling on the styrofoam. The one thing I do for safety is I at least use these things pretty religiously. I don't want to get impaled or impale someone else on rebar, and it could happen real easily if you fell. The other thing is, what if she fell through the one right on the edge as she was helping me hand stuff? You could go on over and fall down in the hole. So this is super easy and super DIY-able, but be careful, obviously, right? Wouldn't you say that's a good takeaway right now, sweet? I'm probably in a little bit of trouble right now, guys. She thinks I didn't tell her. I did tell her. She didn't listen so good, right? I probably told you. She's so mad right now, guys. Anyway, we're gonna get back, and you feel okay to finish? Okay, she's a trooper. She's not talking to me right now, but she's a trooper. So we'll jump back in, finish it up, and see what happens. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. So we'll finish this one up tonight, and I'll show you what the next step is with actually setting the walls. We're gonna mono pour the upstairs walls with the floor. So, ready to go? Cool. So after our narrowly averted disaster, we got back after it, back just to foaming caps down, and she was just carrying, we had just a mess in the backyard of all this Lite Deck, so getting rid of all of it was, kind of felt good to see that progress. For one, this stuff coming together, and the other half of our yard kind of getting uncovered for the first time in about a month. But she was definitely a little bit upset that she did that. That was actually, like I said, the second time. She had almost done it a couple days earlier, where she had stepped on it and sort of cracked that spot in the exact same place. It was just too inviting, I think, because that cap wasn't on the left side there. It kind of felt like a stair, but she was okay, and we got it done. Okay, guys, so what I want to do real quick, I've got almost all the caps on. Christina wanted to go inside. She, I think it hurt her pride a little bit that happened. And she's also going out to dinner with some friends in a little bit, and she was just done. So anyway, I'm going to show you kind of the little wrinkle that we're going to throw into this pour. Is I've got a bunch of older ICF that was kind of janky and beat up, and I ripped it down on my table saw to 14 inches. So what that's going to do is make that is how high the concrete will be after we pour 4 inches on top of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a full piece then. Okay, so it'll sit like so, and I will have plywood screwed down to the original Nudura wall all the way up. And then on the inside, my FabForm mono pour legs will go on here. This is going to allow me to pour my wall and my floor all in one piece. One less pump, no cold joint, just the wall is attached to the wall. Now, the one thing that you can't tell yet is I got a bunch of glass left over from an old job where they ordered it wrong, they just gave it to me. So from about 12 feet from this corner back is all glass. This is all glass. So this is just an L-shaped wall from about halfway back and all the way over. Still got to decide and pinpoint my windows. I want a clear story over the bed, and she wants, you know, like 305s on both sides of the bed. She'll probably win that battle. It's easier, and, you know, happy wife, happy life. I'm not really invested in the clear story. I just think it would look cool. And then, like I said, I'm having a non-code compliant spiral staircase. It's a crawl space down there technically because it doesn't have room for a code compliant staircase. So I cannot have any amenities down there at all, you know, until after everything is done. Well, ever. But anyway, I'll have a nice tight spiral staircase that folds up out of the closet to get down there. Also have a way through the deck to get down there. But I got to figure that out exactly how big and what the size of the hole is. Then we're gonna do the radiant heat, the hot water lines running through the floor, and then show you all the rebar and everything. Then we'll pour it. So we're getting closer. Hopefully I can have this part done this week. It's supposed to be cooler. We'll see. We'll see how much energy I have at night. But anyway, that's what we're doing next, and we'll just get to it. Hey guys. It's Friday. We're actually heading out of town this weekend. This is all I'm going to get done for the week, and I wanted to bring this much to you because if I did this entire pour on one video. It'd be way too long. So I kind of wanted to just show you, we've got all the cap material on, and we went ahead, I had a couple of my guys help me yesterday, and I'm using my form plywood, my normal plywood. I have a horizontal bastard effectively, because I have an old pour and a new pour, and I can't click the nubs together. It's not even the same brand of, this is Nudura and this is Fox Blocks. So I cut one down to 14 inches right here, and it's just screwed to this piece of plywood. Then this piece snaps on top of that one. It's also screwed to the plywood. And what I'll do is I'll use you guys have seen these in a lot of videos. I'll link the Fast Foot video, but these are the monopore legs by Fabform. And they will screw on right here and kind of give me the stability. So what I'm going to be able to do is pour this wall. It'll spill out into the floor. You can see we've got 2 pieces of 3/4 number 6 rebar in each one of the beams. So the concrete will be up here. I'll end up having about a 13-inch deep beam every 2 feet. And this span, I mean, you could park a dump truck on it. And the reason I'm not gonna get all the way through the pour on this video is I'm gonna do hydronic heat next week. Then I gotta do a 1/2 inch number 4 rebar over that before the pour. This thing is very, very well engineered. So just kind of wanted to show you where we're at. It's getting kind of exciting. We still have to finalize where the windows are going on this side, but the floor plan's figured out. So we'll get you the rest of this pour here in the next couple weeks and show you the pour itself.